Chapter 6, I'd like to call the meeting to order and ask that you stand join us in the Pledge of Allegiance, please. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Shirley, would you call the roll, please?
Okay. Dean
Yes.
Cruz,
Here.
Kalinowski,
Here.
Ball, here, Walker,
Here.
Steggy,
Here.
Brian Cruz,
Here.
Lachimski,
Here.
Okay, on the meeting agenda for tonight, we have under communications and announcements, item A, the Manistee County Community Foundation Grant Awards. Item B is the DTE Notice of Hearing for gas customers. And item C is the Rebuilding US 31 in Manistee Stakeholder Meeting 1, and that's basically minutes from that Stakeholder 1 meeting. And I would like to add one thing under communications, and that is in front of you, that certificate of achievement for a perfect score on the assessment audit review that I got from the state last month, January. So if you'll note that as item D in your agenda under communications. Under department and committee reports, we have item A, Operations Services. The monthly report is in your packet. Item B, the sewer report, the monthly report from the city is in your packet. Item C, the Downtown Development Authority. Item D and E, both the Board of Review and Building and Grounds Committee has not met in the past month. Item F, the Planning Commission. Item G, Office of Zoning Administrator, and included in that report are the zoning activities for 2023. Item H, Personnel Committee has not met. Item I, the Elections Commission, those minutes are in your packet. Item J, the Fire Department report should be in front of you. Jim dropped that off today. Item K, the Zoning Board of Appeals, that is in your packet as well. Under new business, we have item A, consideration of approval of the amendment to Charter Township of Filer Petty Cash Policy. Item B is consideration of approval of the presented agreement for assessing services between Great Lakes Assessing Incorporated and the Charter Township of Filer. Item C is consideration of approval for a streetlight at the corner of Red Apple Road and Bittersweet Drive. And then I would like to add item D under new business, which is a copy of that email that I put in your place this afternoon, and that is a discussion on the MDNR Trust Fund grant for Oak Hill improvements. If there are no other additions or corrections to the agenda, I would entertain a motion for approval.
I so move. I'll support.
Motion by Dean Cruz, second by Brian Cruz to approve the meeting agenda for tonight. Any discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carried. Under the consent agenda for tonight, we have item A, minutes of the regular meeting held on January 2nd, 2024. Item B is the financial report. Item C is approval of the Township General Fund expenditures, which includes the fire department. Those are checks numbered 41221 through 41296. Accounts payable total $38,536.67. Payroll totals $15,844.81, bringing the grand total to $54,381.48. Item D is approval of the water department expenditures. Those checks are numbered 3193 through 3209, and check 3208 was voided. The total of those checks is $21,284.74. Item E is approval of the sewer operating expenditures, checks numbered 1225 through 1228, and they total $8,838.67. Item F is approval of the monthly ACH payments to the state of Michigan and IRS in the amount of $2,844.42. Item G is approval for a budget amendment to transfer $3,000 from fund balance, so the general fund, to clerk salaries. Item H is approval for a budget amendment to transfer $2,000 from fund balance of the general fund to treasurer's salaries. And I don't believe there's anything else for consent agenda unless any of you have anything to add. If not, we need a motion for approval.
I so move.
I'll second.
Motion by Kalinowski, second by Stege to approve the consent agenda for tonight. Any discussion? All those in favor, signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? The motion carried. Public comment. Any public comment tonight? Joe? And Joe's going to just give some brief updated information. We spoke within the past week, and I wasn't sure whether we were going to put him on the agenda or not tonight. And finally, when he said he did have something to share, I said, well, you can just do it under public comments. So
yeah. So the SRF grant or project plan that we put together, looking to get the state revolving fund funds for the water main work. We did file an intent to apply to keep that in the system, but we were in communication with the rural development, and they do accept work that was done on the state revolving fund as application for rural development. So we were discussing with them different projects, levels of funding in the project that we have, and what would be to apply for theirs. So they get a budget every year at the state level to have rural development funds that are very similar to the state revolving fund. But they have a lot of projects that come in that are large projects, and there's a gap and an opportunity for people who have smaller size projects. So project size in the $5 million range and under generally are a lot easier to fund, and they don't get a lot of those. So they look to spread the funds that come in throughout the state and not just give it to one specific area. So if you can have a project that fits that category and it's a viable project for them, you have a lot better chance of getting the funds. So generally they're like the state revolving fund alone, and it's based on the federal market rate. So, but they do have something going on currently where I learned this, and this is kind of part of the information, is they really don't have a budget right now. So the budget for the rural development, until a budget is passed, I believe it's at the federal level, there is no budget. So currently any project that gets turned in goes to what's called the National Review Board. So right now at this point in time with no budget, if you turned in a project, there's it gets kicked up to the national level. That's that $5 million mark for when the state actually gets a budget and they run through the applications. That $5 million and below does not get kicked to a national review level, so you're not in the national pool for funds, you're at the state level for funds, so it's a lot less competitive. One thing that we were discussing with them, and they would never give us a real answer, it was just all these generalities, was the median household income that we discussed with the SRF and the overburdened community. So currently Filer Township's median household income is above what they consider that overburden mark, but they are looking at the township as a whole, not as the service area for your water system. I asked the rural development people if we could use census block data which fits the service area for your water distribution system, and they said no, you're not allowed to, just like the state revolving fund. Though you can do a study, and it is very similar to what they do for the census, and they go around door to door and ask people, and there's paperwork that they send out. So it's something that you could pursue through this. You just need to, looking for different types of funding, what you would have to do is put in an application and a request to rural development. That application would get reviewed, and they would look at your request for why you think that your median household income for your service area is actually less than what your township median household income is. And they would either deny or approve doing a study. He did tell me that he's been doing it a while and he doesn't see too many study areas where the median household income goes down, because some things that a lot of places deal with is Airbnbs and rental units. So if the owner of a property and they own several rental properties, it's the person who owns the home's income, not the person who lives there and is renting. So his advice was to, if you pursue that kind of study in order to maybe get some loan forgiveness, because that's really what all this triggers is, say you got a $4 million project. If your median household income is below a certain amount, you're eligible to get some of that principal balance on that loan forgiven in grant form. I believe it was up to 40%. Even if you're below the median household income and considered overburdened, getting a grant isn't guaranteed, but you're a lot more likely to get something like that. So it's a lot of legwork in order to kind of get in that direction. But one thing, we worked with a community up by the Travers area, and they did a study for their service area, and they found that they were below that median household income threshold, and it helped them out on a couple projects. But they pursued something that might not pay out. So that was really just wanted to say we've been looking at other avenues for getting that project put in, and maybe on a selection for a loan of some sort. And I think that either way it might fit the rural development and be something that's viable, a little easier than the competition for the state revolving fund. And I just wanted to let you know we were just pursuing that and looking at it, and maybe, following this, something to discuss at a later date, and look to see if there's something we could turn in and try to keep it moving for you.
And if you all recall, when we went after the DWSRF money, that, like Joe said, that's based on AMI for the township, and our service areas being Oak Hill community and Filer City community, we're pretty confident the AMI for those two areas is substantially lower than for the whole township. And so that, when we did the DWSRF, we finished dead last of all the applicants that went after it because of our AMI.
Mm-hmm.
So this, we may have a much better shot at. Is that
Correct.
kind of a summary?
Mm-hmm. Now, one thing that rural development does look for is current rate studies, and they have a lot of language in their application process that looking at your rates and what you're charging and getting a loan to do a project, they will look at your rates and make sure that your rates will be able to supplement and help with the grant, but also pay it off. So if it comes out that rates need to go up when you take a grant of this sort, they will require that happen as part of the agreement. So it's something to consider. But I think everyone kind of understood that with the other one too. But rural development's a little, they look at your past rates as part of it too, to make sure that you were planning for projects coming up. But you did get a grant some years ago for a sewer project. So.
Right.
Well, that's really the information, something we were looking into, and we were planning on writing up maybe a plan to move forward with submitting and giving it to Terry for consideration, and what it would look like and the steps that would need to be taken. I can get a little more information in writing about the process for doing the rates or the median household income study to see what that entails. The last one that we were involved in, Lake Superior State University actually did the study for free for the community. I don't know if they still do those. You can't do the study yourself. Waitron couldn't do the study. It's got to be a third party that has no involvement in the project, so it's unbiased. And I've been told it can take up to 9 months to complete. But in the meantime, something to really consider is the application period when you would get the funding amount. If pursuing a median household income study started right around this time of year, you would get that completed hopefully by the time an application was due. So then you would know where you stand before you submit an application. We're in a waiting period for applications being due. So it's something that could be worked on, particularly if you could get Lake Superior State or somebody of that sort to do it for free.
Okay, Joe, thank you. Any questions of Joe? Okay, and we'll be in touch, and I'll keep you all informed of any updates that I get from Joe.
Yeah. What we really wanted to do was try to capitalize as much as possible on the study that's already been done and get that to as many places as it will fit. Hopefully something will stick with it. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Joe. Any other public comment tonight? Okay. So under communications and announcements, like I said, you have the Community Foundation's grant awards that they have made in the last round of grants in your packet. And item B, one of many notices we get from DTE regarding hearing for gas customers. Item C, rebuilding US 31 in Manistee. Like I said, those are minutes and kind of an update of what happened at the first stakeholders meeting, which was, I do not remember the date of that meeting, but that was one of the times I had to be in Ann Arbor, U of M, so I missed that meeting. But the main thing I wanted you to look at, and I had Tammy put asterisk next to it, and it's highlighted on the second or third page in regard to Filer Township. So I guess, it's... Pardon?
August 3rd, the meeting was.
August 3rd, yep, okay, yep. So the next stakeholders meeting, and I'd already had a appointment scheduled with one of my cardiologists for that time slot, and since I missed that first one, I rescheduled my appointment so I can attend that. But I wanted, if anybody wants to go with me to that, you're welcome. But the main thing I wanted was any feedback, input from you regarding those highlighted areas on the last page, the fourth page of that communication. So if you have some thoughts, some ideas, some concerns, get those to me, talk to me before that meeting. I'm definitely planning on attending, and like I say, if any of you want to go sit in on that meeting as well, I would be happy to take you along.
When is it?
The 22nd of this month. Let me double check. I'm pretty sure.
City Chambers.
Yeah, it's in the city chambers. Yes, it's the 22nd from 1 until 2:30 at city chambers.
Terry, that meeting was a virtual meeting, and I was on the iPad.
Oh, the first one, yeah.
The first one.
Okay. Okay, and this next one is, at least as of this point in time, is going to be a live meeting. So they did indicate that if there was a need to change it, they could readily do that, but I haven't heard any more, so I'm anticipating it's still on for city chambers. Anything else on that? Okay, and then item D was the, what Joe just talked about, and I gave you a copy of that. No, I'm sorry, that wasn't item D. That's discussion on the MDNR. I'm sorry, I'm really messed up. Item D was this thing.
That's what Molly
What's front of me, yeah. Certificate of achievement, that is 2 years in a row now that Great Lakes Assessing has gotten an A+ rating for the township, which does not happen very often. I see lots of reports of, and Molly can probably tell you more about this, townships and other municipalities that have lots of issues and have to jump through lots and lots of hoops and make corrections all over the place, and sometimes nightmares like a nearby township is going through right now. So,
Thank you to Molly.
and I don't know what that was, maybe about 4 years ago, I attended one of those hearings with you at the county.
Yes.
And it was, I mean, we did really well. We did really, really well, but we still had 1 or 2 areas of concern, and afterwards, you know, I thought, oh, we gotta fix this, you know, and Molly says, oh no, this was really good. This was a great report, you know, because we only had 1 or 2 deficiencies, and she kind of informed me then how, you know, some municipalities, it's a lot worse than that, sometimes getting their rolls seized, and so anyway, 2 years in a row now for,
2 cycles.
yeah, or 2 cycles, yeah, and that's pretty good. And I did, when I got that in the email, I sent it to Molly with congratulations and a thank you from the township, so, but I want to make you all aware of that. Okay. Under department and committee reports, item A, the Operation Services monthly report of water usage and activities. That is in your packet. Item B, the sewer report, the monthly flows to the city is also in your packet. Item C, the DDA, those minutes from the January meeting are in your packet. DDA did not meet this month. Next meeting will be in March. Okay, the next one is the Planning Commission, item F. Those minutes are in your packet, along with the zoning administrator's report, and his total year report for 2023 is in your packet. You can see he was pretty busy in 2023. A lot of activity. Item I, the Elections Commission, those minutes are in your packet from January meeting. Item J, the Fire Department, that report was put in front of you for tonight, and so Jim's report is there, but there's also an item there that we have to take action on. They have a new cadet that has just started by the name of Aiden O'Brien, and the fire department is asking the board to approve adding him to their roster for this year. He has an application that filled out that he'll send forward to Shirley. So we need to take action on approving the addition of Aiden O'Brien to the fire department's roster.
I'll make the motion to add Ryan to the roster.
I'll second.
Motion by,
Since I haven't met him, so.
oh, okay, good. that in relation to Jerry?
Mm-hmm.
Okay,
That's a
good.
boy.
Okay, good. So it's in the family. Jerry's been with us for quite some time. Okay, so we have a motion by Kolonowski, second by Dean Cruz to approve the addition of Aiden O'Brien to the fire department's roster. Any discussion? All those in favor of that motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Okay, item K is the ZBA. Those minutes from their last meeting are in your packet. And that takes us to new business. And item A on new business is consideration of approval of the amendment to Charter Township filer petty cash policy. And we were going to have to take action on that, but as I understand it now, we don't need to take action on that. I'll let either Shirley or Tom just explain that briefly.
We're okay as it is. We thought we had to add the tax change fund to the petty cash policy, but we do not. So policy as we had it is the right one, and it stands.
Okay. So moving to item B then is consideration of approval of the presented agreement for assessing services between Great Lakes Assessing Incorporated and the Charter Township of Filer. And you have a copy of that agreement for services in your packet. And I'm going to give Molly or Sharon an opportunity if either of you would like to address the board regarding anything about this new contract.
Good evening, gentlemen, and Madam Clerk. The new contract does have an increase. The last two contracts, we have held the line and have had no raise. And unfortunately, we're like everybody else and our costs continue, so we had to add a raise this time to the contract.
How much?
I think it was $1 a parcel, something like that. I don't have a copy of the contract.
It isn't very much. When we went back and we looked at what their current monthly paycheck is compared to what it will be, it was only, I think, under $20 a month.
Was not much, but we held it for 8 years for you, but couldn't do it. And we had to, everybody, all new contracts coming up will be set at what we've charged you, so you were the first one to come due.
And not only have they held the line for 8 years, the past 8 years, you know, which you don't see very often. Our other professional service contracts, although we did have our operation services contract, held the line for, I believe it was 2 years with no increase, which was amazing. Everybody's costs are going up, and Great Lakes is really on top of things. They've done a great job for us, and to see just a minor increase, you know, after 8 years of working for us, I think we're pretty darn lucky. And on top of that, compared to what I know some other townships are going through right now and dealing with their assessing, there's some real messes elsewhere.
There are, yes.
Sharon's head just went down because she's dealing with one of them. I know, so, anyway. Any board members have any questions of Molly?
No.
I'll make a motion, we accept the agreement for assessing services as written.
I'll second. Go ahead.
Okay, so we have a motion by Brian Cruz, a second by Kolonowski to approve the presented agreement for assessing services from Great Lakes Assessing. Any discussion? Okay, Shirley, you want to do a roll call, please?
Kowalski,
Yes.
Brian Cruz,
Yes.
Ball, yes, Walker,
Yes.
Stady,
Yes.
Hutchinsky,
Yes.
Dean Cruz.
Yes.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, ladies.
Thank you.
Thank you. And I should add too, you know, their firm is growing. We, at our December border review, although I already knew the gentleman, I had the privilege of meeting him as a new employee of Great Lakes Assessing, and that is Richard Mobley, who's the township supervisor for Norman Township. Very involved, and he's with these ladies now. And,
He was driving Miss Daisy.
yeah,
Now the designated sister driver gets to drive you home.
yeah.
Good.
So anyway,
You're safe then.
thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Drive carefully.
Yes.
She will.
Get her home safe, Sharon.
Do you want to sign the contract now?
Oh,
yes.
yeah,
Wait,
ladies,
both of you.
if you'll take a minute,
Take a
we'll
minute
get
and
this
sign
signed right
this.
now, and then
Sharon, your name is on here.
while you're here, we won't have to
Got an ink pen up there?
run you down
Shirley?
later.
Yeah.
Won't have to wait 2 weeks to get it
There's 4
signed.
of them there. There's a pen. Yeah, there's a book pencil. How many of these do you need, Molly?
Just one.
Well, then give one to Carrie, and sign it, and then that's one.
I wish I had a shorter name.
You.
That's why I heard it's the ball. That's the line.
They both of mine. It'll be the Cadillac.
And there's a copy for you
Thank you.
guys.
Molly, did you get your roasted chicken tonight?
No, we went up here.
Into the bungalow.
I'm gonna have roasted chicken
You
again.
just
while
need
you're
the
roasting.
signed copy by me, right? Okay.
Oop, that one was bad. And I didn't even write 23, I'm proud of myself.
All right, thank you.
Thanks, guys.
Yep, drive safe.
Drive carefully.
Okay, item C, under new business, is consideration of approval for a street light at the corner of Red Apple Road and Bittersweet Drive. I had an email a couple of weeks back from John Holmes. The residents on Bittersweet were requesting a street light there, said that intersection is pretty dark and easy to miss at night. I did take a ride one night when I was coming back through, and I thought, well, I'm gonna go just see just how bad it really is, and I went by the first street light at the corner by your house there, Ramona, and I'm looking ahead to the next street light, and I'm going and I'm looking, and I get to the next street light, I said, oh shoot, and that was, I forget the name of the street, but I'd already gone past Bittersweet, I missed it. So I turned around, went back, and yeah, it's kind of dark here. I mean, I knew where Bittersweet was.
There's a dip in the road.
There's a little bit of dip there, yeah, and the thing with Bittersweet, it's real narrow. It's a gravel road, and it's quite narrow. And so it really, I felt it does need to be lit up at night. We've put a couple other streetlights in over the last 5-6 years at other locations where there were issues, and so I let them know that I'd bring it to the board, and in the meantime, I did get with consumers to check on that. So right now, it's in their whatever division, you know, check things out and that. But I did ask for a price and same as the last one we had done, there's an initial cost of $100, but there could be added forestry costs. I'm assuming if they need to do any tree removal or anything. So I don't have a solid cost. I know the other lights that we had put up, there were no additional costs. It was just the $100, but I don't know where the power line will run down there, and I should have gone back during the daylight to see if there's overhead lines there, if it's underground or what.
It's overhead.
It's overhead, but it's over the north side.
On the north side. Okay, so at a minimum, they're gonna have to take it across the road, and whether that would require any tree trimming or not, I can't imagine it would require a great deal of that, but it could. But, so that's all I can tell you right now, but I wanted to,
Terry, I looked today over there, and by Brian's, there's an arm coming off the telephone pole out to the road.
right,
So I assume they'll do the same thing.
Yep.
There's a telephone pole
yep.
on the south side.
Yeah.
So so if there's a telephone pole already there, they can run the wires from the power on the north side of the road over to the south side, and then that's what, and I don't have it with me, but they did send me some information I printed out, and it would be a 40-watt LED, and I'm assuming like the last one we had done on Maple, a long arm that carries it out almost to the center of the road. And here it would, I'm sure that arm would carry it to the middle of the drive, Bittersweet Drive, so. Yeah, so, you know, I guess at this point, I don't have a final cost. So it's up to you whether you want to approve the go-ahead with this or wait. It could be 2 to 3 weeks before I get before their engineering looks at it and gives me anything.
Well, they usually come with a formal document that we have to vote on.
Right, there will be a document that we'll have to vote on, and, but I guess, you know,
We could make a motion on like $500 or less, and anything higher, come back to the
We're
board.
still gonna have to vote on it. for that.
yeah, we'll still have to approve the
Yeah.
final deal. But if I could give them the go-ahead, well, and they may not deal with that without the document signed, so I guess it might be better to just wait, and I'm gonna assume that,
I think we'll approve that.
I'm gonna assume that the board would be in favor of this, and,
The consensus is, yeah.
yeah, and so I'll at least in the meantime, I'll get back to John Holmes and give him an update on where it's at, and some feedback, and then, you know, I've called the contact person 3 times in consumers, and the last call, she sent me an email and said that was everything, you know, with her is as far as it can go. It's now with their engineering or whatever department, and when they do their inspections and site visits and so on, then they'll be able to give me a price, so more to come on that then. Okay, item D is discussion of the MDNR Trust Fund grant for the Oak Hill improvements, and that was the copy of the email that I got from Scott Lausenheimer yesterday, or no, actually I got it this morning, this afternoon, 12/27, that I put at your places and talked with you a little bit about after our budget hearing today. I guess if you have thoughts on it at this point in time, concerns, ideas, anything you want to share, it's open. If you want more time to study this or to go to this website, and actually, I guess you're probably not going to want to go to that website because it's the DNR's book on the whole process and requirements and so forth for whether you're going for a trust fund grant or a passport grant, or I forget the other one that's involved in there, but it's a, I know when we were doing our Magoon Creek project, after that trust fund grant, I had to visit this, and I thought I'd just print the document out, but when I saw it was like about 60 pages, I just printed out pages that applied that I needed to print out. And but you can certainly go on there and look at it and review it. And, so I guess that's all I'm saying at this point is
Well, do we need a motion?
deadline for application for a trust fund grant is April 1.
It says we need to complete a formal resolution. Who is going to prepare that?
I can get that from Scott, or I believe I can get the resolution out of the document from the MDNR.
That might be something that we need to get done then before April 1.
Oh, definitely, yeah. But the main thing I'm looking for here is just, you know, after going through the process for the Spark grant and not being successful with that, and that was a much higher ticket than this would be. And having gone for that with when we hired Carmen Haas to write the grant for us for the passport grant in 2019, and we were not successful. You know, I just got some concerns about that, and like I said earlier today, you know, there's maybe some other avenues to get done what we want to get done there. The bare minimum with the pickleball courts that wouldn't involve this process and probably not this cost either, but I don't know that for sure. But it's something I wanted to get input, feedback from all of you on what your thoughts are, concerns, whether we should go through another round of grants and seek and I had thought a passport grant, but Scott feels that the way to go is the trust fund grant. It is a 25% match, and that's explained here. When we were looking at the Spark grant, we were looking at a 10% match, but the dollar amount was almost the same amount as it would be on this one because it was the grant was for a lot more. So I guess what I'm asking is just concerns, ideas, some direction, and I will go from there. And if you want to hold off on that and study this some more and get back to me, you know, within the next week, then
I think we should pursue the grant myself and just scale back the project.
What's that, Brian?
I think we should pursue the grant and scale back the project.
Yeah, well, and this would be scaled back. I already told them, you know, like the pavilion.
Because you're going from 900,000 to 400,000.
Yeah, and that was a high cost item. The pavilion and the restrooms and.
I think something needs to be done there. It's getting to look
Well, I think
pretty shabby.
Would this include the handicap accessibility?
Yeah, yes. Now, when we went for the passport grant, we did have handicap accessibility to the pickleball courts, but not throughout the playground, which is, you know, you're all familiar with the park, and you know that's a little bit difficult, a little more challenging, but it could be done.
Yeah.
And by not having handicap accessibility in the playground, when we went for the passport grant, follow up with Carolyn Haas, she said that was big. We lost a lot of points. And I know, I guess it's not in here, but I did look at some of the scoring, and I do have some concerns on the scoring of where we might not be able to pick up points because of the type of grant, the things we're going for. And so I definitely want to have that discussion with Scott, you know, try to weigh it as best we can for success. So my thought, and I told him, I said, the big thing is we would like pickleball courts. We would like some upgrades to the playground equipment and probably handicap accessibility through the playground area, for the benefit of those who need it, as well as to help us score better on the grant. As far as the rest of the stuff, the other one, we were looking at an addition of a basketball court at the entrance there to the park off from Park Street, in front of the well house. I don't know how big a ticket item that would be, whether that'd be something we'd still want to do or not. I guess it might depend partially on what we do in the way of pickleball courts. If we use the existing basketball court to put a couple more pickleball courts in, or just go with 4 courts where the tennis courts are. So those are my thoughts. How many of you feel as Brian does that we ought to pursue
I
this?
agree, we should,
Go for it?
yes.
Well, I will get back with Scott then, and let him know that we would like to pursue this and put the ball in motion and see what we have to do next.
Does that require us approving a resolution tonight?
We don't have it.
Okay.
other
No,
than-
I'm sure we can add the resolution at a later time.
Okay.
I'll ask that, but,
If it has to be done by April, we still have a March.
yeah, right. So I will get with Scott and I'll keep you updated and informed on what's next. Okay, thank you. Public comment. Any other public comment?
Oh,
The
sorry.
public's going out the door.
Oh, no, I'm sorry. Did you say something?
No, I'm just asking, we're at our second spot for public
Oh,
comment,
oh,
so
perfect. Oh, that's perfect.
if you have something you want to share, or,
We just wanted to introduce ourselves.
great,
Yes.
come on in.
I'm Jamie Catlett, and
Jerry Leffler.
Oh, okay.
yeah, and we just started the Victorian Auto Spa.
Yeah, I think I just heard about that today, and you are Township residents?
No,
No.
but they
No.
have I talked to you the other.
Yes, I
day.
talked to you.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yes,
okay.
They have the business.
Right.
here,
Yes.
But they live in the city.
Correct,
Yeah.
yes. And I
Okay.
do own a house in Filer too. Well, we own a house in Filer and Maple.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, 2 houses.
Well, great. Well, thanks for attending, and
Yeah.
You
good to
lease
meet
them?
you.
You lease or rent from the Dr. Balabat?
Yes, yep.
Okay.
Yeah, so.
So
You
you
see,
don't,
they patched the holes in your driveway to get back there, but I see you were
Yep,
patching the potholes the other day.
yeah, they're getting pretty bad, so fix those up so there's no craters anymore, so
Thank you.
definitely,
So you do detailing there?
yes, yep,
That's good to know. I'll get the word, pass the word around.
perfect.
And oil change too, so,
So we have all the oil change and all that going there too, and DJ.
Oh, okay,
yeah.
okay.
Okay.
Does, oh gosh, now I can't think of his name.
You
Wondered
don't
if he
live-
worked there.
the house on Maple, you don't live in that one?
No, I don't live in that, well, no, I rent that at home. Yeah, we rent that out now, but I did, yeah. But we just got married actually in September.
Congratulations.
Thank you, yeah, so,
Good deal.
yeah.
Well, I spoke maybe about 4 or 5 months ago with a young man that, at that time anyway, he was working for the detail shop there, and was a former student of mine, and he had some questions for me about the business, and I ran into him down in Ludington, and we spoke for a while, and now I'm having
Either Jeff Owens or Jordan Mitchell.
Jordan, yeah,
Oh, yeah.
Jordan Mitchell, yeah.
Yes.
So, yeah. Well, good, welcome.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Thank you, just wanted to say hello and meet all of you and,
Yes,
yeah, it's
Yes, glad you did, thanks for coming.
Thank you very much.
Thank you for stopping.
Yes,
Thank you for stopping.
thank you. Have a good night,
Have a good
bud.
night.
Okay, any other public comment? Okay, any other business to come before the board tonight? Dean, you got anything?
No, my wife said the tree looked great and came down nice, so without the decorations, so she's happy.
Oh,
Christmas tree.
the Christmas tree, yeah, okay, good, good. Dale?
And she said it was nice to see all the lights working.
Yeah, yeah,
I don't have anything.
okay, Shirley?
Nothing?
Tom? Brian? Tom? And I don't have anything else, so I entertain a motion for adjournment.
So
I will move.
support.
Okay, so we got a motion by Kalinowski, second by Hachinsky to adjourn. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Meeting adjourned.